discussing the Sarawak election in a special meeting on November 24th in Kuching. EC Chairman Dato' Abdul Ghani Saleh will be chairing the meeting to determine the dates for nomination, polling as well as voter registration. Meanwhile, Sarawak Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Douglas Uga has called on the EC to come up with realistic SOPs to be used during campaign activities in the interior areas during the state election. He said the EC and the Health Ministry, which would finalize the SOP, would hopefully take into account the situation in the rural and remote areas so as not to affect campaigning activities. The Sarawak Legislative Assembly was dissolved on November 3rd, following the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's consent to lift the statewide emergency, paving the way for the state election to be held within 60 days. With the impending Sarawak election, political analyst Dr. Nadrawina Isnin highlights the importance of connectivity during campaigning when reaching out to rural areas.
Geographically, Sarawak is very big, all right, bigger than Semenanjung. So it takes time to actually reach out to certain areas, especially in the rural areas, because given the fact that infrastructure, it is not built in a day, right? We're hoping that probably with the Pen-Borneo highway, it could expedite the process of having all this connectivity. In fact, for Sarawak, there is a formation of a homegrown telco project, right? So this is under what they call it as Sarawak Rural Broadband Network. So it's a Sarawak Digital Transformation initiated by the state government under the Sarawak Digital Economy Corporation, right? As part of the state's effort to digitalize Sarawak's economy and to connect the rural communities with the world.
Therefore, Nadrawina emphasized the role of media in assisting politicians from every side to engage with those in rural communities.
Maybe the potential election candidates could use the radio as a means of spreading information, right? And maybe to, especially those in the rural areas, poor and rural areas, could reach out to the radio. And besides that, the using of internet definitely is one of the best choices, right? Which include maybe online forums. We used to webinars, so that could start, all right? Or maybe also what about in terms of interactive websites, just to be alert of what is going on. So you should be able, they use these social media platforms to reach to the community at large. In terms of, I would say, as media campaign here, there has to be this kind of mutual understanding so that if, say, the candidate would like to reach out to the community, which he or she is not able to, but with the media, it is ensured that the information would go down, go directly to the communities.
Malaysia's COVID-19 infectivity rate has surged back to 1.0 on Thursday. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said there were concerns that the number of cases would rise again.
Kadar keboleh jangkitan COVID-19 ataupun nilai R0 mengikut jangkaan kes harian pada 11 November 2021 untuk seluruh negara juga telah meningkat kepada 1.0, lebih kurang 5 minggu selepas pergerakan rentas negeri dibenarkan, iaitu pada 7 Oktober 2021. Dan jika kita lihat situasi sebelum ni, trend peningkatan kes telah dilihat 5 hingga 6 minggu selepas kebenaran rentas negeri dibenarkan pada 7 Disember 2020.
Dr. Noor Hisham, however, said that interstate travel was not the cause to the rise in cases, but rather it was poor SOP compliance and gatherings in crowded spaces. He had previously said that an infectivity rate or R0 above 1.0 indicates the possibility of a new COVID-19 wave, like what Malaysia had experienced at the beginning of the third wave. Putrajaya, he said, had the highest RT among states and federal territories with 1.16. This was followed by 1.04 in Kuala Lumpur and 1.03 in Selangor. The country had last recorded an infectivity rate of at least 1.0 on August 31st this year. It was on a downward trend since then, but has been going up since the end of October. Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin said that they were monitoring hospital admissions and other leading indicators. He urged vulnerable groups to get their vaccine booster doses immediately when the appointment is made and reminded the elderly to avoid crowded places. Despite almost 5 million self-test kits sold nationwide, registrations or updates on MySejahtera have been low. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham urges the public to report the test results to help in the ministry's COVID-19 data collection.
Ramai yang telah memperolehi RT-kit antigen test kit ILU tetapi tak melaporkan test tersebut sama ada positif ataupun negatif. Dan jadi kita menggalakkan kalau kita dah ada dalam aplikasi MySejahtera, apabila mereka melaksanakan ujian hanya masukkan data tersebut. Ini ketulusan ni pada individu lah, jadi kita galakkan mereka melaporkan.
Due to this, Noor Hisham believes that there are more negative cases than positive ones that were unreported. As of October 29, the Medical Device Authority has approved a total of 54 COVID-19 self-test kits, which include nasal swab, saliva or both. The Ministry of Health recommends self-screening to be performed before travelling interstate so as to not spread the virus.
Malaysia will not face stagflation despite rising global inflation. Bank Negara Malaysia Governor Datuk Nor Shamsiah Muhammad Yunus said that Malaysia's economic growth is expected to accelerate to between 5.5% and 6.5% next year.
Stagflation is described as a low economic growth during a time of high inflation, which could lead to an increase in unemployment. Shamsiah, when announcing Malaysia's third quarter GDP, said that there is no indication of a broad-based price increase or excessive wage pressure, and that price pressures are to remain moderate in 2022. Malaysia's economy contracted by 4.5% year-on-year in the third quarter of 2021, amid the imposition of COVID-19 containment measures in July. Quarter-on-quarter, the economy contracted 3.6%. Headline inflation averaged at 2.3% year-to-date and is projected to average between 2 and 3% for 2021. Shamsiah added, while core inflation is expected to edge upwards in 2022, the governor said it will remain benign amid the continued spare capacity in the economy and slack in the labour market.
Perikatan Nasional is launching its manifesto for the Malacca state election on Sunday. As for its chief minister candidate, PN Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said it will be announced before polling day. He, however, confirmed that the CM candidate will be from Bersatu. On Wednesday, Barisan Nasional launched its manifesto for the Malacca state election themed Stability for Prosperity, which outlines 5 thrust areas and 103 initiatives. On the same day, Pakatan Harapan also unveiled its action plan themed Maju Bersama Harapan, containing 3 core areas, namely welfare, prosperity and stability, with 6 strategies and 32 initiatives. The Election Commission has set November 20th as polling day for the Malacca state election, with early voting on November 16th. How do we best describe the upcoming Malacca state election? A rehearsal for GE15. Will election results be a barometer of political sentiment after several tumultuous years? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to political analyst Dr. Bridget Welsh about the evolving landscape. We will go for a quick break. Stay with us.
Semua dah sedia? Jom! Walau apa pun gerakan atau kepanasan, Sunsilk dengan minyak argan dan pati bunga camellia membersihkan dan menyuburkan rambut secara mendalam, menjadikannya 5 kali lebih lembut dan harum. Sunsilk.
When the world was changing for photographic film, we helped change the world as a pioneer of the digital age. In healthcare, we're expanding what's possible with advanced technology. But why stop there when we can focus our AI and IoT expertise on business innovation, helping tackle some of
Amanah di tangan kita. Adat, budaya dan semangat menjadi kesinambungan perpaduan tanah air.
The Netherlands is expected to impose a partial lockdown this week, the first country in Western Europe to do so since summer. Europe is facing a surge in COVID-19 cases in recent weeks, with some countries reporting record high infections since the start of the pandemic. Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, is scheduled to announce the latest measures today. According to local media, restaurants and non-essential stores will be ordered to close at 7 p.m. for at least 3 weeks starting Saturday, while people will be urged to work from home. New COVID infections in the Netherlands hit a record high of around 16,000 cases on Thursday. A new lockdown would mean a drastic turn in policy for the Dutch government, which until last month thought that a relatively high vaccination rate would mean it could further ease measures towards the end of the year. Around 85% of the adult Dutch population has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. An American journalist was sentenced to 11 years in prison in Myanmar. Danny Fenster was found guilty of a range of charges, including breaching immigration law, unlawful association, and encouraging dissent against the military. The 37-year-old, who had been managing editor of the online magazine Frontier Myanmar, faces 2 additional charges of sedition and terrorism earlier this week, which carry a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. Fenster is one of dozens of journalists that have been arrested since a military coup in February. He was detained at Yangon International Airport in May. Fenster had earlier worked for Myanmar Now, an independent news site that has been critical of the military. The Chinese Communist Party has passed a historical resolution cementing President Xi Jinping's status in political history. The resolution is significant as it is seen as a tool for Xi to retain his hold on power. The document is only the third of its kind since the founding of the party. The first was passed by Mao Zedong in 1945 and the second by Deng Xiaoping in 1981. It was passed at the 6th plenary session, one of China's most important political meetings. As only the third Chinese leader to have issued such a resolution, the move aims to establish Xi as an equal to party founder Mao and his successor Deng. The party has previously set 2 centenary goals: that China would become a moderately prosperous society by 2021, and the second, that it would be a fully developed, rich and powerful nation by 2049. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro AWANI app. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching.